Hi everyone. Today I am painting a puppy. Kind of looks like he's in an army helmet, but he's in a baseball hat and he's wearing some goggles. And this is unfortunately a dog memorial. It's a little sad, obviously. Well, really sad, obviously, for the owners. Such a cute pup, and just she loved living by the lake and rocking awesome outerwear. So we're going to be painting her. I decided to kind of experiment with some watercolor brushes for this. It's not really my go-to. I tend to really like using like oils and like a thicker paint. So I might be using some techniques that aren't the best for watercolors. So the traditional artists, like, feel free to hate on me. That's totally fine. I won't get offended. I'm completely self-taught. I've attended art classes in the past that have been like very informal and overall just fun. And you'd bring like a few beers to a 7 o'clock class and you'd stay there for like an hour and a half and draw and drink, and that's kind of my education. So again, like, feel free to judge completely. So this guy, I just love drawing Chihuahuas. I think they've just got like such awesome expressions. Obviously every dog is cute. Like, I am not that, well, I am pretty biased since I like really only draw Chihuahuas. I have one. He makes me so happy. I just love seeing all the range of what Chihuahuas can look like. They're just like the kind of the funniest dogs to me. So they just bring a lot of joy in my life. And I like to do that for other people. So I'm going to use some different layers I already have going. You can see my palette. Like, I didn't screen share this time. I kind of like to show my hands and what I'm doing exactly, and my pencil, whereas like if I guess I screen share, you don't really get that. Maybe it's better quality, but I always feel like it's harder to follow. So you can see my layers are a little all over the place. But I was really focused in on this goggle yesterday, and I think I might do, the other side of the goggle because that needs a lot of love. So I'm using a photo of him that my friend gave me. She's like really good friends with the owner. So we're going to zoom into that and we're going to like try to refine some of the details of this pup. So the other side of the goggle, like the shadow, the light is like a lot darker. I tend to like to keep to the light of the photo. I think it gets a little too complicated and maybe just past my level of comfort and expertise on how to do that. So, let me make sure I'm in the right layer. Goggle layer. I'm feeling a little iffy about this side of the goggle, so I'll give myself a little bit of grace and use a different layer for this one. So I like to have the bigger brush stroke. I feel like it turns into kind of a blob. If you're using some different types of paint, like, then it might not necessarily look that way. I've kind of given it a shadow already from the sun and on the hat coming down. So making sure that like everything in this part is also in the shade. So I'm going to actually switch the layer to the hat so I don't forget that. And maybe I pulled the palette from the photo. There's a ton of green because there's a lot of grass in the photo. So I don't have too much blue or creams to play with. Which is, I think it's fine. I think the theme of this is definitely like this green dog, this light that's reflecting from the green hat and the green grass. Like, you have to you want to bring that color from what the light is reflecting off of into your subject. I think that's really important, at least from my understanding. So maybe I'll go with this green and just get a good general. I'm going to get off the goggle shadow, yeah, and I'm going to do the hat shadow. So I'm just going to make this whole section. I can even make it bigger because it's just, it's too tall. You can see this thing is in my face. I move back and like what happens. Push back that camera a little bit. Okay, it didn't change too much. You're still looking at what I'm looking at. Great. Okay, so we're making the shadow. Oops. I mean, it does get pretty dark up there, so. And this whole hat. Oh, that's his face. That's part of his hair. His hair isn't in the shadow. Just this whole thing. I just need to make it darker to really get the sense that, like, he doesn't have as much light happening on this side of the face. Honestly, I could do this whole layer kind of on its own if I wanted to just to make everything a little bit more in the shadow. But I don't know if I want to bring all of it into his face. And the goggles are blue, and I kind of keep those blue. Okay, so back to the goggle. So you can see a lot more refinement on this side that I'm happy with. I like the light that I'm seeing. There's a lot more like depth happening on that side. And then this side, it's kind of a blob. So I want to give a little bit more exactness. I don't know if that's the right word. Artists judge me. So yeah, and then feeling a little nervous. So what you want to do is the dark colors first. So trying to pick the color that I think represents this side. Oh, that brush might be too big. No, I'm kind of cool with that. Okay. And I'm going to bring it all the way down. Let's make sure. What's in this one? Okay. So this is like a darker blue. And then there's like some kind of like aqua colors happening. That's way too large. I need to get a good sense of like where this blue is coming from and how long it goes. That's a little too thick still. So I think I need to get more shading in the glass, but I can deal with the brim, at least initially. The dark I didn't actually have meet as much as I want it to be. Probably just like, what the heck is she talking about? I don't have all the formal art words in training, so that might throw you guys for a loop, or if you don't know, then I'm just calling myself out. And you'd be like, that sounded so legit, until she said she had no idea what she was talking about. And then more lights. Can go even lighter up here. And with watercolor, it does take a few layers to get that like brighter, more vibrant color, which I'm still kind of regretting doing this in watercolor, but I will make it work, and I really hope that they like it. There's going to be there's the spirit of this dog is like, I mean, clearly he was a good time. So I think that as long as I capture that, I think the owner will be really happy to have like this homage. Oh my gosh, I watched RuPaul's Drag Race, and ever since they pronounced homage, I just like cannot get over it, and it's just in my head, and I feel like I've like ruined the English. It's like ruined the English language for me. Like, I need to make that stroke smaller. I mean, nothing like a challenge, like some goggles with some major reflections happening. I like the palette though. Green and blue is so pretty. I'm like very happy with it. Okay, let's get some darker blues. This is a little too teal for my liking. I wish that this palette was like a little bit more expanded into the blue. I'm not that happy with. Oh, that is way too light. I need a darker one. Darker. Darker. I mean, I guess I could add some gray. No, I don't want gray in this. This is like borderlining. Like it's not the color I want, but it'll be the shade I want. So I'm just gonna have to be okay with it. And maybe I do give it some gray here to get some of that like contrast that I just don't feel like I'm getting with the other blues. And again, I always get distracted and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm supposed to be doing the darker blues right now. And I go to the light because light's so much more fun. And it really needs to be over on top of that. Oh, not that one. The light is happening over on this side a little, which is weird because you'd think that that would be where the most shade is, but I think there's like a little bit of bounce back maybe. I'm not completely sure how this light works, and I think that is what's kind of tripping me up. And I think I let the shadows be in front, which some shadows should be, but I think right now I don't like that. I think I want to be able to paint over it. This one needs to be above that. Okay, great. And why can't I get over that shadow? Is it? I'm always like, Allison, name your layers. There we go. Pro tip, naming your layers. Way easier to fucking paint when you're naming your layers. It's like, then you're just literally making guesses and you're just like, I think this works. I mean, I'll come out a little bit. Okay, it's getting like a little bit better, but oh, I hate that. Oh, I hate that. Oh, so many. Okay, I'm gonna just, great thing about painting, you can just keep painting over it. You're like, oh my gosh, what were you doing? That was too generous, too liberal with that paint. Watercolor in real life does not work like that. It is unforgiving, in my opinion. And you have to have so much patience with watercolor. It kind of makes me want to cry. I don't have the patience for it in real life. Okay, I'm just going to do this whole underside. Get those lines in there, Allison. And I mean, painting's cool because it's like, yesterday I hated this piece. Today, still kind of hate it. But, you know, maybe by the end of today, I'll hate it a little less. I mean, I will still absolutely hate it, but just maybe a little less than I do right now. And like, oh, what was I doing adding green to the reflection? It's just like, no, it needs to be blue. Blue, 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 blue. Or gray. I can get some gray in here. Oof, that seems wrong. A darker gray, which this is borderline again. Can you tell that I'm frustrated? It's fine. This is supposed to be chill and cozy. So I think I can make it, I'm going to make it work. Like whatever is being reflected back to this dog is it's gonna be okay. And actually I got the shadow even a little wrong, but it's okay because we're not looking for like actual exact photorealism. It's just about giving them a sense of like this was their puppy. And again, I always do the dark over dark. This is too light. Too light. the other eye looks so much better. And what I need to do is really assess, like, okay, I had the coloring right over here. So let me grab a lot of that and bring it into this guy. Yeah, and it looks like it was a little lighter than even what I had going. Which is like, that's all right. So this is the color catcher eyedropper tool, where you can really figure out like what you can match colors with it, and it's awesome, and I love it. So maybe I'll put that into here. And my brush needs to be a little bit bigger for these glasses. See, the one thing, I hate it when it ends up looking like just like blobs. But it's okay. I'm gonna figure this out. And it needs to be dark. Way darker than its counterpart in the sun on the other side. And this is over here, the real photo, right? So I'm working off that. I need some lightness up in here. I might just pull from this side a little bit to just add some. Whoa. Yesterday I was like, what if I just scrap this one and I just start over in oils? And then it's like, but I felt like it's just a good challenge of doing something that like I'm not really all that comfortable with. Yeah, watercolor purists were like, what are you doing? Why would you do this to this painting? I know, I'm sorry, guys. I'm so sorry. I tried. It could be way better. I need to get some blue over here. Look at this blue rim that's happening. Then I need to get it over. I don't know about you if you guys work in Procreate, but I love Procreate. It's just, I love zooming in. I love trying to I don't know, you can like move things around. So, like all my dark scribbles, like I didn't feel like I had the shape, but it was too wide. So like you can just like go in and circle a lasso tool and then move things over like so easily, and it's awesome. It's like, it's just something that you don't always get to have in like real life painting. That can just be like, oh man, I made his face so much wider than it needed to be, and I wish I could go back. And you can always go back with paint. It's just going to take longer. And here it's kind of like there's just these little shortcuts that you can do that just make your time feel a little more efficient, fun. Also, like you're not worried about how much paint you're using and how much paint you're going to have to buy next. So if you're frugal like me, like tend to maybe even limit some of the art that you do because you just like don't want to spend the money on the materials. But that's what I love about Procreate, because you really just get to, like, you don't pay for this paint. Maybe I'm hurting my eyes a lot more than I need to, but I think that makes a little bit more sense to me. I'm going to bring some of this beautiful Carolina blue over into this side of the glasses. That just makes more sense to me, I think. Like, I was getting a little lost when the details were like too big, and I needed to get to the point where I felt like I was doing the little tiny details. Let's go black with this. Let's get that in there. Because that's the shit that makes me happy. The little tiny details are so fun. And I'm going to put some of that dark here. That's what makes it, like, it takes it away from being goggles, and it just makes it kind of like marks. And I love that part of it. And it's like, it can get a little messy. You don't need to be perfect at this point. Like, you're just marking stuff up. And then, again, backwards again, I need to have the dark at the bottom, and I need to have the light on top of it. I don't know why I always decide to do that. I feel like it's coming together a little bit better, maybe matching some of the clearness of the other side, a little less murky. There's still like a lot needed, and I like the progress, but I'm feeling better about it. I just want to bring that one like a little darker. Let's do, and then some up here, I think, with the darkness. I think this line around the goggles. And then there isn't so much clarity down here with the edge. It's like way fuzzier. And the shadows kind of like blur together. So I think that's an important part. I haven't decided if I'm making the straps like a blue black or a green black. Again, I definitely have more green to play with than the blue in my opinion. Let's see, darkness is there too, some shadow that creeps up. Darkness at the edge. Yeah, there's like really some deep purples and blues that I want to pull actually from the photo into this, but again, like the palette that I have, like I'm gonna just stick to it. I don't want to have to like rework a whole palette. I guess I could also recolor. That's a really cool thing that you can do in here. If you want to see, you can select everything all together. I'm gonna group it and then get in here. I think I have to just press it. Recolor. Oh, open layers. Okay, let me grab all of these layers again. I think that's what I have to do. Oh shit. Grab them quickly and then go back here. Recolor. Layer selected. Okay, so actually I have to merge all of these into one. Maybe I'm just not ready to recolor yet. Sometimes you can just, if you off everything on one layer, you can recolor it that way. So I guess I could show you in this. Go here, recolor one layer, and then you kind of flood that zone. So I don't want to, I want it over here, and then I can, oops, I'm doing the glasses. And I can make them lighter, I can make them darker. I could also make sure that it's going into this paint and make them real dark. Whoa, black. But all of this can be undone. You're like, no, thank you. Okay, so let's look like from a distance, this dude in the shadows. I need more light, like popping lower down here, because there's this like little sunbeam happening. Oops, I'm on the wrong layer. There's a sunbeam happening. It's kind of looking triangular, and then a nice pull. Actually, I think I have these goggles like a little too big, y'all. Got carried away. And then I can put some light even on top of that, lighter. Where's the break? Just maybe a streak. It's kind of like at the top of that. And then there's some real dark underneath. So let me make a layer underneath this that I pull some of the shadows into. Shadow colors, maybe some of this dark blue. Yeah. And it's kind of lighter up here. And would hopefully like pull this whole situation together a little bit too, to show where the actual goggles stop. Because it's kind of like down here. Again, I need to make sure I'm on the right layer. This is still blue. I want to give it lighter blue. Okay. And I even think that I like losing this part down here. There's like some little bumps. Bring some more lightness in. Yeah, there's like a weird thing happening. Okay, that looks a little bit. I don't want this to be as bold as it is this corner. Where did I put it? Oh, look at that. Yeah, I think I like that a lot better than what I initially had. Where do I need to make it? I put the shadow over here, and I still need it to be more blue. Okay. And I'm like, what layer did I put that big splotch on? Is it this one that I need to erase a little bit of? Maybe? No, I think that splotch was back here. Nope. Where is it? Oh, this one. Oh my goodness. Is this working? Am I getting rid of it? A little bit? Is that blob just there to stay? I'm like, where did it? I found the blob. Okay. To be really gentle about how I get rid of that. Okay. I think that's gonna match once I get like the fur and everything in. I definitely like to kind of move around sometimes in what I'm doing. I still think there needs to be some darker blue here, and that I just like don't have that within my palette, I guess. Like, oh, it's so annoying. Give me darker blues. But it's okay. I'll get through it. I can make this. There's yeah. Pops out a little bit, and it just reminds me that like how thin watercolor really is. The layers and how many layers I'm forcing myself to do with my hands, but it's okay. I get through it. Some of the other things I like to do is just like one big freaking stroke. And I think in watercolor it just ends up looking weird or something. Like even, let's see, to do the body down here. Got some big old green strokes. Because again, he's like a blonde Chihuahua. I like to do them like a blonde Chihuahua in the grass Like, it's just so funny, and he's so freaking cute. And I'm like making this dog green. It's awesome. Only part of him green, though. And then I'm like remembering, I'm like, do watercolors actually do the darkest first and then the lightest? Or do they do the lightest first and then the darkest after that? I'm not really sure. But for right now, he's green, and he's such a cutie. Even his little face has some green. Underneath those goggles, I could even put some green around his nose, which I already have too. And then that way, I mean, I could definitely, again, never starting with the darkest, always need to be starting with the darkest, and I don't necessarily know if I'm okay with that with this dog, but it's a needed thing. And I mean, honestly, like, I need to just go around again and like squint a little bit, like see where the shadows are for this dog. You know, what layer am I in? That's his body. I'll do like his face. Like, he's got some darkness in him, and he deserves for that to come out. And I just put it over the teeth. Well, I mean, like underneath the teeth. Totally. And it's good to just like squint and see where things pop up in terms of shading. Just do your shadows. Get those like bolder strokes in that you can refine later. It's nice to just have stuff on the canvas, not feel like you're being too cautious and crazy and perfectionist. And dogs, you know, their hair goes everywhere. Doesn't always follow like one kind of bias. Yeah, dark. And then even this buckle over here. He's got such a great smile. He's so freaking cute. I love it. There'll be a little bump out here, some lightness over it, but I'll get the dark in first. Make sure his smile goes all the way up to where it needs to go. Yeah, that beautiful green. That's the thing too. You don't want it to be you don't want your darks to just be black. It's good to know, like, if you're gonna be doing like cool colors, black and blues and greens and purples, or if you're gonna make your blacks like reds and oranges, and like mixing it in, because black's just not black. Some smaller brush strokes, kind of have the shade in. Even a medium color of the green could be good to do the rest of the lighter shades that kind of come over here, like the shadows around his nose. He is a green dog. I should have switched my layer, but just gonna go for it. Kind of travels. This light is insane. Like, I'm making a green dog, y'all. I hope my friend's okay with it. That's fine, because I'll come in and I'll lighten it up, and it'll be okay. A green army pup. He's not an army pup. Look, he's wearing a silly beach hat, but it just like it'll get there. It'll so get there. I mean, I like what I'm seeing. If you're really blind and you're like just squinting and it was fuzzy, then that would be okay, right? I have 3 other dogs I need to do also, or two other dogs. So I've got little black pup, and then after that, a long-haired wired dachshund. That one is so cute. Oh, I'm so sorry. Today has been a long day, right? Oh, gotta stretch out my fingers. An hour straight of drawing it's like, that's a lot for me. I definitely tend to do like little half-hour stints. So I think I'm getting a little drained. I think that was supposed to be light. He needs to be really light there. Let me get another layer going. What you can do too is draw. You can put the photo in and you can eyedrop colors from it if you wanted to get like super photorealistic and real life color. But it's not gonna happen. That's not what I want to do. Because then I'm getting a whole different level of the things I've already done and bringing in all of that. Let's give the dog some face. And I don't want to start over like that. Especially in commissions. I mean, like, obviously, I want this dog to look as lovable and amazing as possible, but I can't, like, the perfectionist in me, like, cannot win. Because if I let the perfectionist make that decision to start over with a different palette, like, I would make no money. Because I could redo all of my paintings probably if I wanted to, and just be like, oh, they need retouching, like I need to do it again but this way. And it's just a really unprofitable habit to get into. Obviously, if you have a bigger budget, you're just like, this is not the way that I want the dog to be, and if you just redo it and then you kind of have to make it up later. There's lots of different ways to do that, obviously. Like, next time, don't take as long on your other paintings. But that always doesn't work out either. But, I mean, the more you do something, the more efficient in general you become, like, just automatically. So it's like in time, maybe it would even out a little bit more. So let me bring some of this cream into him. Maybe more strokey down here. Maybe that's how I want to be. It's refined on the goggles, strokey elsewhere. That's definitely Allison getting tired. I'm just like, I can deal with that later. It's funny, I'll look back at some of my pieces and be like, oh man, I had a lot of focus and energy right there. Like, I was on top of that. Like, wow, that section right there. And then it's like the rest of it, I'm just like, oof, not so much. And I'm even doing these teeth wrong. That's like not how you want to do teeth. They're not all perfect circles. They're more like weird blobs. And then these are just like weird, strange teeth blobs. Look, see, that's the only light cream. Like, fuck. I'm just gonna bring some like white into this because it's driving me crazy. I need the teeth to pop, and I need the tongue to be underneath it. What did I do with the tongue? Oh, that's what I did with the tongue. It's on a different layer. So now I need to, oh wait, no, it's not. It's up here. Tongue behind teeth. If you would. Yeah, there you go. And then I can work on some teeth. Again, this is like my lightest color. Oh wait, I'm still on the tongue. That one's kind of like triangular. This one is more of a weird rectangle. This one kind of goes back a little bit. Whoa, got that tooth all wrong there. We can erase it. That's why Procreate's the best. got a little bit more teeth. Man, that's some wonky teeth, y'all. Like, really looking at that, like, whoa. Obviously, you need to make a lot more things, like the base of the mouth, darker. Yeah, I'll give him this dark blue mouth to break. Yeah, there we go. Again, maybe not the best choice for watercolor marker, watercolor brush for this. Not necessarily my best choice, but it will make it work. And then I'll get even darker down here, really under that tongue shadow. I guess that would actually probably should be my tongue layer, because then I can really visually, it's going to stand out to me. I can do some of this front jaw too, though, while I'm down here. I kind of want to make my brush bigger. Again, have the broader strokes that I felt like I was definitely missing on the first time. I can do an even lighter blend in. And then you can tell that there's like some red even here, like on the gums or like outside of the gums. So that would be something that I'm going to explore a little bit more. Cool thing about watercolor, though, is you can kind of layer. You can have different shading even with the same color, the same brush stroke. You could do the pressure, like this is really light and it's getting darker as I go. The more pressure I put on it, the bigger the stroke itself becomes and stuff. So Procreate is pretty awesome. Oh, and then see, I made this tooth so large. Like, now that I'm looking, now that I'm looking at the mouth with the jaw, I can tell I need a lot more room right here for the actual tooth. And I had the tooth jutting out. That probably makes, oh, I made it super sharp. Chihuahua, watch out. That tongue needs to go like way above, even where the tooth ends. So now I'm like questioning myself about the placement of the tongue, and does the tongue need to be bigger? So what's cool about Procreate, obviously, or if you don't know, you pick your layer. This is my tongue layer. I'm gonna make this bad boy bigger because he's got to go actually like over the tooth over here as well, and then he's got to be above this other tooth. And it's like, that is not even something I noticed until I was working on the jaw, y'all. So it's like, this tongue needs so much work. So what you can do is freeform too. So if you wanted to just move down your stroke to give way for that upper part of the mouth, these teeth are all in the wrong spot. Okay. Another thing I just noticed are my teeth are too high. So then again, go to the tooth layer. That makes me feel a little bit better. I made to make it smaller too, more uniform. Okay. Procreate, you're just the best. I might just have you have this jaw too deep. I need to get off the uniform thing. Freeform. You make it a shallower mouth. That's what's cool. And if I realized like I had the tilt kind of off, I could do that. God, that tongue is weird again now that I've moved the teeth. So then I'm gonna go back to this, figure out like where does that blob of a shape need to really go. So then we have a little bit more in. Okay. Well, I think I'm like fully exhausted, so I'm going to call it for tonight. But thank you guys for joining in. This has been fun making this green dog. I will work on it again, but I hope that everyone has a wonderful night.